मैं अनुरोध करूंगा कि सबसे पहले एम्बेसडर्स who would be the first of you to address? Okay, please come. And I also request you to tell us whether you want to play the music first or later, huh? Afterward. In the meanwhile, salute the soil of Cuba, the revolutionary people of Cuba who have given us hope, and I hand over the mic to Ambassador.
Yes. Good evening, all of you. Dear old friends from India and from Indore. I don't know if I'm speaking in English, and I don't know if we need translation in Hindi. It's not necessary.
No, we have distributed.
Okay, okay. Well, before I read my message, I wanted to say three things. First, that I was very, very impressed of the 90 years and the 80 years from these leaders from Indore. And I was seeing that they still clever and strong. And that remembers me somebody in my country that some days ago also celebrate his 90th birthday. I mean Fidel Castro. And I can tell you, he's still strong and he's still clever. Thank you. Number one. The second thing I want... the second thing I wanted to say, that we heard a very, very pretty song. The voice from the singer is wonderful, and the whole group was a very, very interesting play. I congratulate the group. And the third thing I wanted to say, that it is not strange that I'm here with the ambassador, my brother from Venezuela. You can imagine why. We are in Latin America the vanguards of the idea and the vanguards of the struggle for our people. So I think it was a good idea that the organizers from this activity invited us together. Thank you for that. It is a great pleasure to be able to be here in this event on behalf of the Embassy of the Republic of Cuba in India. In our case, the participation in your opening event has an additional significance, since it has allowed us for the first time a visit to the state of Madhya Pradesh, and to know about the beautiful city of Indore and its people through you all, also giving us the possibility to bring us closer to the rich and diverse cultural history of yours. For all this, my wife and I present to you the most affectionate appreciation. I want to use a few minutes to tell you what some things about the struggle in my country. As you know, surely, the Republic of Cuba is a very small island in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, with a population that represents about 100 times smaller than India, but it has 11.2 millions of Cubans. Its history has been linked to the fight against Spanish colonialism first, and then for the real independence against the occupation of our territory by the United States. In the year 1959, the Cuban Revolution trumps, and it opens a new stage in our history. I ask my friends, for what the revolution was made nearly 60 years ago in Cuba? And I answer, it was made so that the Cubans had an independent homeland, education, health, decent employment, social protection, and a life full, to abolish social injustice and exploitation. Those are the budgets of the homeland. All that has been done in all these years has humanity as the center. This has set strategies and policies and defined the fundamental characteristic of the Cuban development model, which is to address the economic aspect and the social development as an integral unit. Today, my country constitutes a socialist society, a prosperous and sustainable, for which it is making deep structural changes in its economy to attain an efficient economy, but within socialism, because we Cubans are convinced that only socialism, taking into account the cultural and historical characteristic of each country, is capable to ensure the social justice and equality. The new scenario approach with the United States presents us the new challenge to preserve our sovereignty, independence, and self-determination. It advanced in the process of normalization of relation, but the biggest obstacle is the economic, commercial, and financial blockade that is still almost intact and constitute the greatest barrier to our economic development and a violation of the Cuban human rights. We take this opportunity to thank our Indian friends here who have accompanied us during these long years to demand the lifting of the blockade, and surely will count also with your support in the next future. As you see, Cuba has developed all the way through its history amid a patriotic and nationalistic feeling and of a strong national culture. The battle forward that we are facing today under the new condition is mainly a cultural battle through the domain of the minds of every Cuban and through the domain of their hearts. We are prepared for this new scenario. And I can't assure you that the Cubans have no space to come back to the past. The Cubans have only space to struggle for today and for the future. And that is what we've seen from socialism. Through all that I have expressed before, it is that we offer an importance to the development of the cultural relation, especially with India. This festival is proof of the strength of the cultural tradition on this city and throughout India. We wish the best for all of you. Our national hero, that was also our national poet, José Martí, he left us a written legacy with extraordinary value in our days. I choose on this occasion the following thought that has full validity, and that is, to be cultured is the best way to be free. Thank you.
Would you like to tell 2 sentences about the song?
Okay. Well, if you permit me, I will say only 2 words about what you're going to see. This is a music that was written for 1 year ago, in a moment where we need to mobilize the young people for the struggle for their independence, the struggle for our sovereignty. And then there is a young music group that brought with modern Cuban music a patriotic song that talks about fatherland, that talks about our patriotic culture and national culture, and especially talks about our Cuban flag. And that is, I wanted to show that. That takes only 3 or 4 minutes. Thank you very much.